everyone, today's art journal prompt is friends, and I want to use my distress paints. I haven't got them out for a while, and you can just achieve some really fantastic marbling techniques with these, but use acrylics, use what you have. You haven't got to go and rush out and buy distress paints. I'm just using them because I've got them. So what I'm going to do is add some distress paint directly to my mat. There's a ball bearing which you can probably hear in these that just mixes them up, and we'll use some of this one here which is spun sugar, and if I can get the lid off, that is. And so just putting a bit down on my mat, and then I'm using I've got a wad here of mixed media paper cut up into sort of approximately 4 by 3 inch square rectangles. And I'm just spraying with some water before I sort of mingle my card into my mixed media paper into the water. And these just marble together just absolutely beautifully. Just look at that, just gorgeous. And I am now going to spritz with water again, because these reactivate with water, and then I'm going to set it straight away with my heat tool, just so that I don't lose that lovely marbling. The paper will curl and it will slide off the page if I'm not careful. Now that's how my little piece looks, and I'm going to do the same thing with the leftover paint. Of course I won't get as many colours sort of running through it because they've merged together by now, but that's absolutely fine. So I just want to mop up the excess that is down on my mat. You could use distress oxides to do this. You could use your distress inks as well. The good thing about the distress paints is that they're permanent when they're drying, and then sort of mopping up whatever's left until, and I shall just keep repeating this process until I've used up all of this lovely paint that's on my page, spritzing, as I say, in between. Go. I've got 2 pieces of paper there, one with the marbling on and one plainer piece, and I want to do the same thing, this time with faded jeans, cracked pistachio and tumbled glass. So again, if I can get the lid off, let's wipe away any cruddy bits. Some of these are quite old and are sort of coming to the end as well, not much left in them. Oh, hang on, this one here, the lid's come off. Oh, this is what happens when you don't use your paint. You end up with crispy bits all over the place. And we'll also use the cracked pistachio. These colours are just gorgeous. Let me just wipe away all the crispy bits. And again, I'm going to spray with water. And you can see that I've cleaned my hands as well from the red in between, just so that I don't end up with red and orange bits in this. And just dragging my piece of paper, mixed media paper, through the paint. Just look how beautiful that is. It's just gorgeous. And again, I'm going to spritz that with water and dry it with my heat tool. This time I'm going to do purples. I've got wilted violet, weathered wood, which is a grey colour, and dusty concord, which is sort of like a mauve. I don't want too much of that that purple because it is quite dark, so I'm going to add more of the other 2 colours. I'll have quite a lot of that because it will just lighten things. And what have I done with the lid? Oh, there we go. So let me just put the lid back on those, spritz with water and run my paper through again. And oh, gorgeous. These are just so beautiful. Right, I'm going to dry that. I'm going to spritz it with water to activate the paint and give it a dry. So that's how that looks, which is just absolutely beautiful. So we'll just use up the leftover paint and just run it through like this, coating as much of that paper as possible. There we go, that's fine. Spray it with water to activate and dry, and I'll keep picking up all of that paint, drying in between until it's all gone. Here's my finished cards. Just absolutely love how pretty those are. And then I've got the plain ones here. Those are the mop-up little cards. So I'm going to put those to one side just to continue their drying process, and I want to create my background. This is mixed media paper, and I'm going to spray it on the back, just because I'm going to be using quite a lot of liquid and it will hopefully stop it curling. I've got Bombay inks. These are Dr. P.H. Martin's Bombay inks in violet, teal and red violet. Dr. P.H. Martin's does the India inks, and he also does some watercolours as well, so don't get the two confused, because I know people have in the past. The India inks are permanent, where of course watercolours are not. But you can use any watercolour paints to do what I'm going to do here. I'm going to use some isopropyl alcohol. So I'm going to add a couple of drops of violet, teal and red violet. Yeah, I think I'll do it in this order. There we go. And I've got a jar of water, just plain water. And I'm really loading up my paintbrush here. You need a lot of water for this, because the isopropyl alcohol, which I'm going to splatter on later, won't work if it's not wet enough. So blending these colours together, I just love that. That is just so gorgeous. And then coming down to the red violet. And I'm working on watercolour paper here, Strathmore £140, just because of the amount of liquid I'm using. I don't think mixed media paper would just hold up quite so well to the amount of liquid I've got in this. So just blending those colours together, beautiful. And then I've got a pipette and a capful of isopropyl alcohol, and I'm just going to tip this all over the background. Now, if your page isn't wet enough, you won't get any reaction from the alcohol. And I just think that's really pretty. So I'm going to, that's fine, that's enough. I'm going to give this a dry. Work on the cards that we made earlier, and I want to work tone on tone. So here I've got two different types of purples. I've got Stays On, which is permanent ink in royal purple and vibrant violet, and then I've just got a mixture of different stamping tools here. So let's just start off with that one, this one here. Let me just take the lids off the ink. In fact, we'll start off with this one here first, and I am going to use, let's have a look and see which way. I can never remember which way round. There we go, and we'll do the same with this one here. And then we can add some of the dark violet as well. Overlapping, which is fine if we want to. We can have some circles as well. Just adding interest and pattern to this without making it too busy. And then we can use this script stamp as well. I think it's that way up, but let me just test it first. I've got no idea. Does it really matter? I think it must be that way up. There we are. So not thinking about where this is going, as you can see. And I think I am happy with that. I feel as if I want a little bit more pattern in the centre there. Which one shall I add? I think I'll add the jumbled letters. There we go. And I'm going to do exactly the same thing with the other cards. Before I move on, I've decided I want something in these darker areas here, so I'm going to use my Stays On Opaque in cotton white, and I'm just going to use this stamp here. This is the one that Know It gave me. There we go. That's just brightened things up a little bit. There we go, and we can add some to this here as well. and that will do fine. And so this time I'm going to use hydrangea blue and teal blue. You can use your distress inks for this. Just use what you have. You can even use crayons or paint. It really doesn't matter. So, you know, don't worry if you haven't got the same tools as me. There we are. I think I just alternated between two, didn't I? Never mind, it really doesn't matter. And again, we'll add some of this script stamp. Quite like that one. And what should we add now? We'll add the harlequins again. And have we got room for some dots? I think we'll add the dots in the white again, shall we? Let's put the lids back on those and add some of the opaque white. I need to press a bit harder. There we go. There we are. And so now we can work on the red. I shall give this a quick dry. So this time I'm using fuchsia pink, mustard seed, and brilliant rocket red. So what should we start off with? I think we'll use the jumbled letters. Which way up does it go? That way there. We'll start off with the pink. There we are, and we can add some dots. I think we'll add the dots in the yellow this time. And then we'll add some harlequins in the brilliant red. And I think I want some of that text stamp again. I think I'll add that in the white. Let me put the lids back on these. There we go. Bring that opaque white back, and we'll use this script stamp. There we go. I think that will do fine. Let's add a bit more in the middle. Now I've got a piece of cardboard here that I've folded in half, and I've drawn a line at the 1 inch mark, and I just want to draw a shape. We're going to have some birds. There we go. I think that will do it. So I'm going to cut this out. And I can tweak this if I want to as I go around. That pencil mark is just a guide. And let's see if I'm happy with that that bird shape. And then what I want to do is find a place on these cards that I want to cut out. Just going to have another go at that shape. I wanted a bit more. Right, let's see if we can do this, if this is any better. So it is just playing around with it until you get a shape that, that you are happy with. And yes, I think I prefer that shape for my birds. And so what I want to do now is, right, let's have a look at these and see which ones I prefer. I think I do prefer the marbled ones, so I'm going to draw some shapes on the marbled ones. So I should probably have it something like that, so I've got a bit of all of this detail. In fact, I quite like it down here. So I'm going to draw it on the back. So I should just draw around this shape here. And I shall do the same, whoopsie daisy, same with all 3 cards. Like that. And then let's have a look, where do we want? I think I like it there on that one. So again, just draw. I should have grabbed a sharper pencil, shouldn't I? This one needs sharpening. And then we'll do the same with the green. So let's have a look. Where do I want that? I think here. And so I'm going to cut these out and then I'll be back. Now you can see I still wasn't quite happy with the shape of my bird. I wanted it more elongated. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that over and just draw around that like that. There we go, that's better. And then we can cut that out. Now that's how my birds are looking so far, and I want a branch for them to sit on. So I've got a piece of paper that is the same width as my page, and I just want to cut a slightly wavy line. I want it much thinner than that, but I don't want it straight. There we go, and I want to do exactly the same. How wide do I want it? About that, I think. And then I'm going to paint this. I think I'm going to do it in something like Payne's grey rather than black. I think black would be just a little bit too harsh. There we go. So that's about right there. This is just an offcut off another page that I've been doing. So let me just have a look and see what colour paint I can find. And I've opted for indigo in the end, which is a nice dark black blue. Might need a couple of coats. Move that out of the way. Oh, not enough paint. So I'm going to give this a couple of coats, drying in between. There you go, there's the, whoops daisy, the first one. Look at that, quick dry. And you can tell when paint's dry because it loses its shine. There we are. I've got the branch all painted, and I've made some tails as well, and I'll show you how I did that. In fact, using a bigger pair of scissors, I cut a thin strip of card. In fact, this is mixed media paper, and then I've just tapered it. So taper it on one side and then the other, and then I've cut out some notches in the bottom, and I've varied the shapes just for a bit of interest. And I did it on white paper first, before I copied it onto the scraps that I had left over. So that's how I've done that. Then I want to make some beaks and things for my birds, and some feet. So I've got my Harlequin stencil stamp and a little heart stamp, and I've got where's it gone to? Oh, here we go. A plain piece of mixed media paper that's covered in the distress ink, just in red and pink, very plain this time. And what I'm going to do is I am going to stamp on the back using, let me just move that out of the way, using black Stays On ink, and I want 6 feet. So I'm going to stamp that 6 times, 1, 2, 3, leaving a bit of space in between just so that I've got room to cut it out. There we go. And then I want some harlequins as well. So again, sort of stamping that down, doing it on the back, because if I do it on the front, I won't be able to see it. So it's easier to cut if I do the shape on the back. There we are. And then all I'm going to do is cut my shapes out. So, and it's easier if I cut these into individual parts, and then just cut around your heart, fussy cutting it. So I'm going to go off camera and do this so that I can actually see and concentrate on what I'm doing. But you can see what I'm doing here. So going around the outside first, because of course they're small, it's a bit fiddly, but it is doable. And then just go inside there to cut out the little curve. There we are. And there's a foot. So I'm going to cut out 6 of those, and then the harlequins are going to form the beak. So just cut out the harlequin shape like this. Oh, come on you. And I'll only need half of that, so I can cut it there. And that is my beak. So let me just show you. So we have a beak, and I think I'm going to need to fiddle around with this because I've cut my heart a bit wonky, but that's fine. I can always stamp out another. There we go, that's better. And oh, come on, that's fiddly. And that will be one of my feet. So I shall do 6 of those, 6 of the hearts, and 3 of the triangles. Now I've cut my beaks and my feet out, and before I assemble anything, I just want to go around the outsides of my birds with some Distress Oxides in faded jeans, just to highlight them. And I might even add a bit of black, or maybe even midnight blue to this on top as well, we'll see. And then I'm going to add some black as well. So let me just grab my Stays On ink pad and a sponge. In fact, that one's a bit dry. Let me choose a different black ink pad. Let's have the Memento one. I need to re-ink that. There we go, that's better. I've obviously used some white paint or something on the end there, and it's rock hard, so it wouldn't take the ink. There we go. So I'm going to carry on doing this to all of my birds, and I shall do the same with the feet as well. Now I just want to attach all the components of my birds. I'm going to attach their tails first, just using a little bit of gloss. Oh, what am I doing? I've applied it to the wrong side. I need to apply it to the top, don't I? Silly nincompoop I am. So there we go, like that, making sure that's straight. Oh, hang on, I'm off camera. Oh. like that, and I shall do this with all of them. I'm going to go off camera and do it because it's a bit fiddly when I can't get up close. And then I shall attach the beaks as well. So I shall just glue those down again using just a tiny bit of glossy accents like that. Now I've peeled the tails off my bird because I think they need to sit underneath. It's going to make this branch too raised. So I've drawn a line, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue my birds down. So I'm going to play around with these and glue them down. I've drawn the line so that I end up with them all in a symmetrical fashion. Move them over slightly. And I'm going to go off camera and do this so that I make sure that I align them properly. And I'm going to use some glossy accents, but I'm going to leave a gap at the bottom just so that I can slide things under if I need to. And I'm going to slide my branch under so that the birds are just sitting slightly on top with their tails behind. So I'm going to add my glue and carefully put this under. There we go, about there, and then press that down and wiping away any excess. Yes, I'm happy with that. I'm getting there, guys. Right, okay, my feet are glued on and I just literally tucked them, can you see? Tucked them underneath. The eyes are going to go flying off in a minute. Tuck them underneath there just so that they're poking out, and I'm really happy with that. And then I've got some small googly eyes. I think I got these from the Works. Does it say on here? For about £1 for a pack. And I'm going to glue these on with some glossy accents. So let's put one eye in place and glue the other down. So a tiny weeny dot of glossy accents and just glue that on like that. Just hold it in place for a second just to get it to stick, and then I can do the other one. And I'll do this with all 6 eyes. And we're almost done now. I've printed out my quote, "Life is all about finding friends who are your kind of crazy." So I really like that. And I'm just going to ink around the edges first. So let's see what a difference this makes. Whoops, come on, flick over. Right, so I'm going to do that to all of the other pieces. I'm pretty much done with this page. I just want to ink around the edges. I'm going to go over with the faded jeans to start off with in the Distress Oxide ink. And then I shall go over in black. And then I'm just going to add some black just to really darken it. Let's turn it around this way. And you can see that I added quite a thick layer of the Distress ink in the faded jeans. Now, I've just added some shading to my page, and all I've done is I've just been dragging some of the black ink, just the leftover on my pad, just round like this, especially concentrating in the corners, just to sort of really try and highlight my page. I haven't got a huge amount of ink on this because I don't want sort of big harsh lines, and then I've also added some shading around the birds as well. And the way that I've done that is I've just drawn, this is charcoal pencil, a charcoal pencil, Derwent charcoal, and this is the dark. And I've scribbled some onto my piece of paper, and then I'm just rubbing it around the edge like this, just to sort of really create a highlight. And can you see what a difference that makes? I just love that effect. So a really easy way of adding your shading. So as I say, just concentrating on the right hand side. Can add a little bit more here as well. Let's just keep adding scribble to your piece of paper and just dragging dragging it in like this, and it's nice and soft and quite subtle when you do that. So that's it. I'm going to glue my page into my journal. So here it is. Here's my finished page, and I just absolutely love how this has turned out. I just think it's adorably whimsical and cute. So I look forward to seeing what everybody else decides to create for this week's prompt, friends. And if you like what I've created here, I'd really appreciate it if you'd give me a thumbs up. I know I say that every week, but it really does just let YouTube know that you like what I'm doing. And let me know what you think in the comments below. And for anybody who would like to take part in weekly prompts, then I'll leave the link to our Facebook group, Art Journal Prompts, in the description box below. So take care, everyone, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye for now.